everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be sharing one of my life transitions, which was going from walking to using a power wheelchair my whole life. For those of you that seen my content, know that I have muscular dystrophy. For those of you that don't know what muscular dystrophy is, it's a disease that affects your muscles over time, but there are certain individuals that have muscular dystrophy that are able to walk for a certain amount of years. That was my case. I was diagnosed at 2. Even though I walk, I still have limitations with that, meaning I wasn't able to run. I would fall really easily. It was hard for me if I fell to get up from the ground because I always had to grab a hold of something to be able to get up. But honestly, it didn't affect my childhood. I was able to ride a bike, throw a football, dribble a basketball, uh, yeah, kick a soccer ball, do all that stuff. But with limits, I wasn't able to do it like someone who doesn't have a disability. My family didn't know I have muscular dystrophy. I have an uncle that would always tell my parents that they were being too overprotective because they were always, being cautious of me not to fall. And if I did fall, they would always go and help me get up. And he would always be like, "Oh, you guys are being too overprotective. Let him fall and let him get up by himself." But he didn't know what was going on with me. And plus, he didn't need to know what was going on for certain reasons that I'm not gonna get into. I walked most of my childhood until one day I wasn't able to get out of bed by myself. I told my mom that I needed help to get out of bed. That's when we knew the time had come to use a wheelchair. I still walked, but I needed help. Like, as the months went by, my body started getting weaker and weaker and weaker to the point I just wasn't able to get out of bed and walk as well. So that's when I knew it was time to use my wheel. So most of my childhood, I was able to walk until age 11 when one day I wasn't able to get out of bed by myself. I told my mom that I needed help to get out of bed, which she did help me. And I was still able to walk, but I needed to hold on to things just to walk. So that's when we knew it was time to use the wheelchair. I thought I would mention this real quick. For those of you that don't know, before you get a power wheelchair, you have to pass a few tests. And also, the therapist will give you the rules that you need to follow. It's like driving a car. You need to follow the rules of the road. Same thing when you get a power wheelchair. So I did for a couple of months. I did a lot of tests. And then when I did my final test, my therapist was like, there's a lot of people that don't pass their test, in a few months. Some take years just to get their wheelchair, but you have proven that you're going to be responsible and follow all the rules that I told you. So here you go. You get your wheelchair. So it was like getting your keys to the car, when they're like, you're ready to drive. I'm glad that I was able to pass my test. If I didn't, imagine I wouldn't have a wheelchair when I needed it, when the whole incident of me not being able to get out of bed happened. Imagine that would have been like a tough time for me. It was still a tough time, getting used to the wheelchair. I didn't know what I was going to tell my family if they asked. It was going to be a new thing going on in my life, a new transition. Nobody knew about my muscular dystrophy, like I was saying. So I was like, what am I going to say? And the other thing as well was, how people stare when you see someone with a disability. We all do it. But I wasn't used to all that. I was 12 years old when I stopped walking. I was still a kid, still getting used to using a wheel. The reason I made this video was because there's a lot of people or families just starting their journey with muscular dystrophy, either with a relative or a son, and they are probably worried about how their son or their relative is going to deal with using a wheelchair for rest of their life. A lot of people with muscular dystrophy or have the same case as me are able to walk for a certain amount of years, and around 11 or 12 they'll stop walking, and they might feel too overwhelmed to be in a wheelchair like I was. And that's the reason I decided to make this video, to, I don't know, maybe inspire people not to let the wheelchair define them. Just because you're in a wheelchair doesn't mean you cannot do certain things. It might be a little harder, to do certain things, but it's not impossible. Like how I was able to go to college and graduate from college, my disability didn't define me. It was just working harder to achieve what I wanted to achieve, which was graduate from college. And now I'm in a new journey with this whole YouTube thing that it's going well so far. So if I was able to, be able to graduate and start my own YouTube channel despite having muscular dystrophy, I didn't let my disability define me. So I hope to inspire other people or other families to not worry about their relative or son that they might not be able to accept the transition from walking to using a wheelchair. But maybe listening to my story, I will inspire them not to let the wheelchair define them. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Until next time.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride.